Your audio's still good on Pete.
Okay.
So, are we broadcasting yet?
No, we're not.
Okay. According to this, we are.
Going live? Okay. 2 minutes and 41. Countdown.
Yeah, we're good. Okay. We're alive now.
Yep. I see it now. Okay.
I saw watching Pete test his finger to figure out which way was which.
It's the watch hand. Welcome to IFB, everybody. Never mind the Cylon. You know who's on? Lola is on.
Lola?
And the mediocre modeler.
Well, we got to sing Lola.
And Ramon is on. And Greg Kane. All watching live. Thanks for joining us, guys. Interfleet Broadcasting is here with you now. And we are going to dive in. So, Chris.
Yes.
I'm here with my buddy, partner, co-producer, Chris. It's just like, There.
There we go.
Right over there. So, go ahead.
Go ahead. What? Hi.
There.
Hello, everybody. Your friendly neighborhood Cylon. Well, friendly neighborhood Cylon. You can thank the Cylon Alliance for the Tylium shortage on the East Coast. We have sucked all the Tylium out of the planet Earth, so we've kept you from getting gas to your vehicles. You're welcome.
Nothing like spreading the nanites and Cylon love.
That's
you know, what's there not to love on a Cylon? It's doing all those, great things. Mediocre Modeler says, hey guys back. And what's up? Pete and Chris from Ramon Razor. And everything is so far so good, guys. So we got a nice show. We're gonna get some news up in a minute or two. We're of course going to welcome everybody officially with our toast, Chris.
Yes.
And,
hi.
No,
not that way, huh?
You're so excited. Chris has toys. He's got something to show.
Oh,
I have
always.
something to show too. So we'll do a little show and tell in a little bit.
There's hardly a week that goes by that we don't get something.
Yes.
That's sad.
And we got some cool stuff. Clay Arden, is this the Croft Super Show?
Yes. And this chapter is the Croft Super Show. It really is.
It sure is.
This chapter in the book is.
It's got some really cool stuff in
Yeah.
it. And we'll talk about some of the background characters as well. When we compare the show versus the book chapter, and so that's pretty cool. Chapter 4, of course. So if anyone is reading along, obviously we're going to hit page 52 to page 60, and it's one continuous chapter. There's no sections in it. There's no jump twos or anything else in terms of the narrative. So it's all about Croft. So yeah, this is going to be pretty good. We find out some very interesting things that we don't see in the episode itself, but that's what makes this all great. Sean is with us. Sean, thanks for tuning in, of course. And so Chris, I think it's time. Let's do the toast and let's just jump right in, man, because
sounds good
stuff. Yeah.
Alrighty. So, as we always do, if it's I thought you said it was bad luck.
It's what's in here, Chris? Ambrosia.
Okay. So maybe it's not so bad luck. So, anyways, we do have this every week. We like to thank the fans because you are what makes the fandom and the fleet move. So we always like to say our hashtag fans fuel the fleet, not fans fuel the feet. I've said that before, but today it's fans fuel the fleet. And we like to thank you for being here. So we raise our toast, we say thank you, and, take care and keep the faith.
All right. So, thanks for joining, everyone. Let's jump into a couple of things that we got.
Sure.
You want to do that, or do you want to?
Yeah,
what
go ahead.
would you like to do?
There you go. You go first.
All right. Okay, so I'm gonna go first. Get this. So real quick before we hit the news, I picked up a copy of artwork. Right. So this is a one shade of what is that? One degree of separation from the real thing. Right. This comes from many. This should ring a bell for those that the true diehards. Ken Swenson, who was a modeler on the original Battlestar Galactica, right, movie and show, and I got this directly from him, and he's out in California, and let's see, check this out. That's kind of cool. I know, Chris, this is really true to your heart because look, there's an actual Cylon Raider.
I love that Cylon Raider look too.
Cylon Raider. And look at that. It's kind of cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah. So Yeah.
And it's what is the? Go ahead and show the tower there. Is there somebody on the tower? It's hard to tell.
It's an obelisk. Yeah, there's some pretty cool details on the actual obelisk. Let's see if I get that a little closer. Um, is that?
Oh yeah.
Is that it?
Okay, I see it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now you said Ken Swenson, and I went ahead and I figured I would pull him up so people could have a look.
Yep, there he is in the beard with the coffee cup.
Let's see if I can make that bigger.
Yeah, he did a really cool interview back in the day, like either 78 or 79. And if I'm not mistaken, guys, anybody out there, I think it was Fantastic Films actually published it. I don't think it was a Starlog interview with him. So really cool. And he's retired and he's little camera shy. Of course, I invited him on and he thanked me. But
there was a cool story behind that.
Yeah.
He's how he got that picture.
Oh, yes. So he told me that it was saved. The original that he has, the one that they used in the actual model shop, all of those pictures had been thrown into the garbage. They were in the dumpster, and before they were
a travesty.
picked up, yeah. So before they were picked up and sent out for destruction or to where the garbage heap, he actually went and saved several of those. So he has them, the ones that were actually used in the shop while they were making the models and all that. And so this is a copy of the original. So it's 1 degree of separation from the original. It's kind of weird and kind of sad and I don't know, kind of
that's cool though. I mean,
nerdy, real nerd.
You got it directly
nerdy,
from one of the guys who designed. So
which makes it special. That's right. The real connection too, because a copy is just a copy, but this is from him and really cool. So hey, if we could ever convince him to come on, I mean, a lot,
right.
A lot of people, Chris, are camera shy. We've approached many people, and a lot of them are just, hey,
right.
Thank you, but it's just I don't do well in public in front of cameras or do anything like that. As a matter of fact, we're gonna have someone that's writing up a little sort of like a letter for us on their behalf, who's very heavily involved with BSG, and she's camera shy, and we'll do that when it's ready. We're still working on it, so yeah, but that's cool. So you have
so we'll get it. We'll get you the information one way or another, whether we have to have somebody translate. Like we did,
right. or from Chile, right?
From Chile,
South
or
America. Yep.
We'll get it somehow. So we'll always make sure we get everybody involved. I got a couple of things that was kind of neat. So one of the things I thought I found online, and I know Pete doesn't like the new Battlestar Galactica comics as much, but I like the new Battlestar Galactica comics only because the artwork is really amazing. So Dynamite does Battlestar Galactica comics, and this one looks just like most of them. And hang on, let me go to full screen for me. Okay, so this is a really cool comic. And it's like, it looks like most of the other Battlestar Galactica comics, number 5. It's hard to tell, but the top is foil. And
oh boy.
It's a certificate. Only 325 of these were made. And they call it the number 5, the Cylon Foil Edition. Now, whether they scraped the foil off the Cylons to make the top, I'm not so sure. I would be upset if that was the case. But yeah, only 325 of these were made, so that's kind of unique. I like something that's unique, and I've got pretty much all of them. But this one was I saw it online. I was like, and it was relatively inexpensive. It was under $10. So and then
Mediocre Modeler says dumpster diving wins again. Yes. And Lola says lucky you. So
yeah, lucky. And then so I got some books.
I have a problem with. See, there is. Man,
right, so I will say this about the books. This book is all of the new series, and it breaks down each episode of the new series. And
did you look at that?
I haven't looked into this one yet. I've been reading this one. Which,
I'm very curious to know how, what's the background or the spin on the new one compared to that. Okay, all right. You're not a mesmerist. You're not hypnotizing anybody with that.
No, but and then to their defense, some people they kind of
what
I don't think they poo-poo on Galactica. Some of this in here is written. Galactica is near and dear to my heart. But if you read into it, they're like, well, it was a. You look at the title; it's a mashup of things. So it's okay. But there's some really critical. Yeah, but there's some good information in here too that I found. Especially, I'm reading the chapter on the episode that we're doing now, the book we're doing now, and stuff like I didn't know that.
Hold it. Whoa.
What?
Let's wait for when we actually start talking about the. Yeah.
Pete's not going to let me. Pete's not going to let me jump ahead.
No.
Jump around.
The book is.
Jump around.
The book is a little.
Jump.
Jump.
Oh, sorry.
The book is a little bit critical.
Yeah.
And it's one of
that's
one
a good
of the
word.
ones.
Yeah, that's a good word.
It's definitely, if not the number one most critical, it's probably in the top two. I don't think there is another book that is written just about the classic 78 Galactica that is as critical. But like you said, so it has redeeming quality.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons that,
It's got some good info in it. And, stuff that I should have looked at, we'll talk about it during the thing.
All right. So Sean says, come on, Pete.
let me talk, Pete. No.
No, absolutely no. And Clay says Cylon pounded into thin sheet is the best Cylon as far as I'm concerned.
Oh,
so no problem. Okay.
Yes.
So, Chris, we have news, and we got John 1 waiting in the wings. So let's Pete has his Cylon tamed. Mediocre modeler says that. Why even write a critical book 40 years later? I don't know, Sean. It's not that old, but if you hear some of the stuff that's in it, it's like, come on, guys. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
Face it, it was 1978, and we understand what was going behind it, but it was written. This edition was 2015, and the foreword was written by Richard Hatch in 2012.
Yeah. Well, look, as long as you know where it's coming from, that's the most important. Whoever writes whatever it is you're reading, as long as you know the context and what exactly, where the author's mind is and their mindset, it helps put everything in context. So, yeah, they're haters. Sean, I agree. That's my impression. And you know what? Let's see what happens when, Chris, you start reading the next book and see are they going to be as critical? I have a feeling that they're not going to be as critical.
This greatest thing
that's what I think. So,
it possibly could be, so. They could be fans of the other show and it wears off. But I mean, that's how you get away with writing something like this. It's unauthorized biography. It's the unofficial unauthorized guide.
By the way, who's the publisher on that?
The publisher is Telos.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Telos. Man, I just it pushes me to want to write our own. But anyway, okay. So,
let's do it.
You know what? Yeah, let's do it. we had John 1 in the wings with some news.
All right.
So let's do this.
Hello, everyone. This is John 1 reporting for Interfleet Broadcasting. As I reported before, Kevin Smith's He-Man series for Netflix will release on July 23rd. It will be a two-part storyline with the first 5 episodes airing on the 23rd. This has been a highly anticipated series for continuing the original story with older fans in mind. Well, I guess those older fans are us because we used to watch it after school every day. My helper's not working. As animation, check out the new DC's Super Justice League World War II, out now on DVD. If you haven't heard or seen yet, the new trailer for Venom, Let There Be Carnage, is out for those who don't know who Carnage is, he's a symbiote, just like Venom. Well, it's actually Venom's offspring who bonds with Cletus Cassidy, a killer, during a prison break. So,
Okay.
Carnage will be played by Woody Harrelson. See it September 24th, 2021. Carnage first appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man number 359. Hope after the movie my price of my comic book goes up, because I remember I have that issue. I just checked.
That's when you buy a comic book, you're always like, oh, if the movie comes out, maybe it'll go up in price.
Yeah, I remember that symbiote was Carnage. It was all other different ones. It was a girl symbiote. It was like, oh, it got weird at the end. G.I. Joe Snake Eyes will be getting his own Origins movie. See it on theaters July 23rd. A Quiet Place 2 will be hitting theaters June 3rd. The trailers look good. One hand after another for Peacock's version of Battlestar Galactica. Losing one writer after another. Hopefully the producers can get their act together and get a writer who knows Battlestar Galactica so it can get launched. But, there's so much more stories to write. You have the 1,000-Year War. There can be many more ships to write, like the Atlantia. What happened to them, the beginning of the 1,000-Year War, the center, but so many stories. But we'll see. No, what? My helper isn't as good as it was in practice.
You need to hire a Cylon. They're much better. Yeah. Cylons are a whole lot better at doing that.
Pressing that button.
Oh, yeah. Hang on. Right? Seems that there will be a Stargate reboot. Initial reports are saying that the original writers are back on board, as well as the stars that have been approached to play in the scenes for the upcoming one. And now, across the pond now to England, the BBC has revealed that the new Doctor Who will return with new episodes either this fall or this winter 2021. And
that's cool.
Check out The Bad Batch on Disney Plus. A third episode airs tomorrow. And see Jupiter's Legacy on Netflix. This was based on the Image comics. It's pretty good. Superstars and their family and how the kids have to, owe up to their parents that are superstars, but they're falling apart. I guess it's Netflix's version of The Boys, but Boys are way better. So I think it's good. The author of The Martian, Andy Weir, has released his newest book, Project Hail Mary.
Got it.
It's about an astronaut who wakes up from cryo sleep, and he finds that everyone is gone. Oh, they're all dead.
Oh boy. Oh man.
It should be pretty good.
I just bought the audiobook this week.
Oh, I gotta start reading. I didn't know it was that. I just saw it. I'm like, oh, I gotta get that. If anyone has any more information for me, like trailers, cons, gaming, Warhammer, Dungeons and Dragons, comic book information, please drop me a line at lonecentorian1@gmail.com. And this is reporting for Interfleet Broadcasting. This is John 1. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks,
sir.
John.
Thanks, John.
Ramon says, are people rushing to go to the theaters? I'm predicting horrible openings for these movies. And I got to agree with him. I think that's exactly what's
even
gonna
after
happen.
CDC said something today, so I bet we're still going to be a bad opening.
It's going to take a while. That's
HBO
for sure.
Max is the big release thing now, I think. So
I agree. Also, Ramon also mentioned that as long as it's constructive criticism, and you know what, that was a good point. I didn't catch it when it first came up, Chris, when we were talking about the books. I agree. That's bottom line. Clay made Clay said, Telos is the Cybermen's planet, and they've always been jealous of Cylons. Agreed. And Lola, of course, and so many adventures. So there's definitely plenty of stuff out there. So, yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of cool going on, and let's just keep going with I guess Godzilla Kong did well. Well, I didn't get to see it yet. I am looking forward to a break. So yeah, just hoping on that one. George,
Godzilla Kong went out to
is in the house.
Yeah. Hey George, I hope you feel better.
Oh boy, yeah, that's for sure. All right. So, we have, of course, we are working on Battlestar Galactica 2, the Cylon Death Machine. And, Chris, bottom line is this is a short chapter. However, like we alluded to just a little while ago, it has a lot of in my opinion, like good, strong background info for the Croft and his gang, and
Right.
kind of stuff that is not in the episode. It's not fully formed. Again, my thing has always been that the episodes run fast. The show itself, Galactica, I think was by design meant to just keep moving. So the story moves at a quick pace, and of course with the book we have the luxury of actually discussing and talking background and things like that. So
All
good
right,
stuff.
so here we go. We're
Let's
ready
do
for
it.
this? Okay.
Ready? Let's do it.
Book versus episode.
Let's fade to us. There we go.
Oh yeah. All right. Cool. And now we're on.
We're on. So book versus episode. So some of the things that I kind of found out this week by reading this and kind of doing some more research. I didn't know they had rewritten and they rewrote or they edited, I guess, the script 18 times.
What?
This was actually this was filmed right after number 1 and kind of number 2 at the same time.
That's right. Yes.
So that's kind of how I think that's kind of how this ended up being book number 2, because this was the second script that was given to Robert. So Robert Thurston was given these scripts, and he wrote the books off of these. So this was the second script that it was written off of, and there's a lot of carryover in regards to some of the information. Now, I do believe that I'm covering the microphone. I do believe that they put it in the right order in regards to the series 1, 2, 3. So the mini series up front, then the COBOL one is in the right spot, and then this one should have been right after that, because in the movie you watch in the Baltar's towards the end of it, one of the 18 rewrites that put Baltar back into it, which is what the problems were, was they removed Baltar and said Volpa was going to be the bad guy. So they put Baltar back into these, so they had to do reshoots, which is why there were so many different rewrites of the script. Also found out, and I knew I had it, but I haven't read it. I do actually have the script for this. That's
something.
It's called Crossfire.
And which Crossfire? Sean just mentioned that there were multiple titles for as it evolved, multiple titles for the episode, and it would be interesting to see which copy of the script you have, which version, because there's there's that whole evolution of what Thurston got and wrote the book from versus see, there you go, had several titles too. So man.
So from what I understand and what's read in the books, it was supposed to be, I'm going to forgive me, I have to read back to it. The Nari of Sentinel 27 was the original title. And the Nari are supposed to be who the clones were. The clones were supposed to be the Nari. Yes,
that's right. Yeah.
So that was the original title. And then it went to Crossfire, which was relating to I think I mentioned this on our very first episode of this book, was relating to how the base stars and the gun had Galactica in a crossfire. So that was kind of the Crossfire. And then it came over to finally Gun on Ice Planet Zero, which a lot of people say was a combo of
Guns of Navarone.
Guns of Navarone and Zero. Ice Zero, yeah. Ice Zero. Something.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know. I'll tell you, it ended up being the book is good in and of itself. I remember the first time I read it, Chris, it was pretty, interesting. And I got so into it that I actually,
Ice Station Zero, that's it.
Yeah, Ice Station Zero, right. So I was getting the feel for it. So look, I say Ice Station Zero. Yes, thanks, Sean. So look, why don't we just take a quick break before we
Okay.
actually, pick apart the chapter, because this is just like the background. And we were lucky enough to be able to connect with a really strong supporter of ours from the beginning, and someone that is worthy of any and all our time. Someone that's been, working in and moving and pushing science fiction for a long time, and I definitely am happy to say that we have Owen from Sci Fiction with us. His Facebook group actually is over 44,000, and he represents all things science fiction and beyond. And also, he had a birthday yesterday, so happy birthday. We have him in the wings. And Owen, welcome to IFB Interfleet Broadcasting. Let's see if we get his audio up. I think we have it's
Yes,
on the
we
low
gotcha.
side.
Gotcha.
All right.
I'll bring you up a little bit. There you go.
Yes, you can.
Oh, he's having an earthquake where he's at. Oh my gosh. Are you okay?
All right, we got you. Owen, welcome to the show. Thanks for taking time out. I know that there was a bit of a crunch and things came up, but thanks for coming on and tell us a little bit about your background and your group and some of the stuff, because you do interviews and you do the convention scene stuff. So, tell us.
Well, I do a lot of interviews, like the Comic Cons. With the COVID stuff's been kind of delayed, a lot of the Comic Cons and stuff. But I've been doing a lot of interviews for about the last decade. Started doing podcasting. Then I started kind of eventually, after the years rolled by, I did a few hundred of those, and I started cracking into on-camera interviews. We cover all the Comic Cons, all the science fiction festivals, everything from San Diego Comic Con, Wizard World, Reed Pop, Star Wars Celebration, you name it. And we've been doing that for a long time. We're looking forward to bringing some new original programming to everybody here this year. We're also working on upgrading the site. We hope to have something really special planned for everybody. That it'll allow people to be joined together in a community unlike never before, because we may be actually building some kind of potentially a social interface that would allow. Oh, cool! That's space, nice. A social interface that would allow people to create their own groups, but inside of the site, which would make it its own network. And we have some features where possibly people could go in and upload their own photos and their own pictures and their own short stories, and they could have featured guests. We'll have podcasts and original shows. All kind. We're working. That's our big thing. We're working on with that. And yeah, so it's a lot of fun, man. I enjoy it. I've loved science fiction. I know you guys do Battlestar Galactica. It's kind of funny. The way I got into Battlestar Galactica was interesting. So I was a kid, and there was a company called the Intergalactic Trading Company. And I managed to get some VHS tapes that my father got me, my father Greg, and he got them, and I just was addicted. I love Battlestar. It's just amazing. And actually, I think one of the tapes that I got was actually the Zero, the gun on Planet Zero. That was with the original series from '70s. So I got that, and of course the DVDs and all that jazz later.
Oh, it's so cool, man. Yeah, so that is fascinating. Your Facebook stuff, you have some archived photos, and it shows you out there doing the interviews and being at the conventions. Right. And so where do your interviews live? Where can the fans go to those?
Yeah, the interviews, I've got several places. When the site's up, it'll have a master archive, and we'll be porting them all into the mainframe. But basically, most of the interviews, all of our video, a majority of every video we've done is on our Facebook page at facebook.com/sci-fiction. And then we also have a SoundCloud where we store a lot of our archived audios at soundcloud.com/sci-fiction. But the majority of our audio's there, and our videos are on. We also have YouTube, which is YouTube's our scifiction.com YouTube, which we're going to be developing more once the Comic Cons and all the goodness get back in play as well.
Oh, fantastic. So if you could pick one convention that you wanted to see happening before this year is up, what would it be?
Oh man, it's probably San Diego Comic Con, or I know they're having one in Thanksgiving weekend, which I'm really I guess that's gonna kind of like be a little pregame show. But the San Diego Comic-Con was amazing. It's cool. We actually had the opportunity. They introduced me to Kerry O'Quinn, who was the founder of Starlog magazine in Fangoria and all that. Super cool. He's 80 something years old. He's got more energy than anybody I've ever met in my life.
Oh,
and
wow.
Me and him, and he's awesome. We beamed up in the transporter system on the Paramount's Star Trek Universe booth, and he introduced us to Mr. Tom DeSanto, and he actually was the screenwriter. Yeah, he was a screenwriter for Transformers. He was one responsible for getting the live action Transformers onto cinema. And he wrote the first 2 X-Men films with Hugh Jackman and all those guys. And he actually has 40,000 comic books in his collection.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
He also. DeSanto is also the one who wrote the Battlestar Galactica continuation that didn't get made. It didn't get made. It was 2001.
So the Bryan Singer one they didn't get to do. Right.
Yep. DeSanto and Singer,
Those
which would have
guys
been
were really
awesome. It would have been totally awesome, but it didn't happen. It started to happen. It didn't happen.
Aren't there's a new one. Somebody's getting ready to do a new series or something. I heard like a movie or a new Battlestar.
Yep. So there is plans for a new Battlestar Galactica based on the old version movie, and
So
there is plans. Yeah, and that's done by Kinsberg. Kinsberg will be the producer on that one, and then there is plans for the continuation or offshoot of the Battlestar Galactica 2004 on Paramount.
Edward James Olmos and all those games.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be with them. It's going to be it's going to be on that story arc. It's not going to be on the original series story arc.
I love your helmets, by the way, behind you, Chris. Those are awesome. You're like all the Cylon heads and all that jazz.
Think of the heads and.
Yeah.
Those are my minions.
His Cylons, yeah. Exactly.
The movie props, I forgot to mention, we're at Comic-Con. I've interviewed him a few times. Brandon Allinger of Prop Store. Those guys, man, they have all the movie props you could ever want in your life. But they had some really cool stuff. They not really Battlestars, but they had an R2-D2 astromech from Phantom Menace there, screen used. They had a communicator from Star Trek 3. They had a phaser. I think it was the one that Kirk used when he was escaping the ship before it blew up with the Klingons and all that jazz. And they had some phasers, and they had a lot of really cool science fiction, like screen use artifacts. They had a baby Ewok from Return of the Jedi. That little puppet thing, man. It was cool. It was really cool.
Oh, and you do panels as well, right?
Yeah, I do panels with the Comic-Cons. I do just different ones. I'll go on, like I did one last year before the Comic-Cons kind of died down. I did one on DC meets versus Marvel MCU. Was narrated by Mr. Aaron Sagers, who's a cool cat himself. He actually did Sci-Fi Channel's podcast for a while and does a lot of behind-the-scenes journalism and all. He's a cool cat. You should check him out. But we did one back in New Orleans about a year or so ago that was based on trending, kind of like, all the tools that all the geeks and sci-fi fans use to promote all the coolness, like from social media to, techniques of how to, develop into podcasting and video, interviews and all that. So that was a cool panel.
Really wow. Cool. So do you ever come out onto the East Coast?
Yeah, actually I'm on the East Coast now. I'm actually in Dallas, Texas. Yeah.
That's not East Coast.
Oh, you mean New York? New York. I've never been to New York. My sister, she's actually a theatrical major. She graduated from NYU in a master's in theater, and she moved to New Orleans. She was the head of the the Tulane theater department. And then when the COVID hit, it kind of stopped all the festivals and all that jazz. So she's taking a little break from that, but she's been doing acting probably since she was a kid, like in college. She's in her early 30s now, and she's been doing that for a long time. But I've never got to visit her because I was living in California at the time. So.
Oh man, we got to try to get you out here to New York Comic-Con so you can look. San Diego is the Mecca, but New York is a second. Is that right after? Stop, Chris! Don't even speak. Well. Yes. What are you talking? Look at him. Chris is a big fan of Dragon Con. That's his Mecca.
That's a big one too. That's a huge one. That's what, about 90,000, 100,000?
Yeah, 100,000, 120,000 over 5 hotels in the downtown area.
Insane. As a matter of fact, Chris.
Go ahead.
Chris will be there. Chris
Yes,
is going.
I'll be going there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Every year, I
Aren't they
don't miss
having
it.
that?
I don't
They're
miss it.
having
Yes.
that this year? Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yep. And matter of
remember-
fact, they just posted. I guess the CDC dropped the something about the masks and everything.
Nice.
That was one of the
That's
first
awesome.
things It was one of the first people who posted it on my timeline was Dragon Con. Hey guys, look, no masks. But we
I
all,
was at
but we're
Dragon
all
Con,
wearing masks at Dragon Con. So
Oh yeah, well they'll get back in stride. Everybody will have the Comic Cons. It'll all be awesome. But
yeah.
I was at Dragon Con a few years back before Mr. Richard Hatch passed away.
Yep.
And they had the panel there that had him and some of the other actors from like the original and kind of the reimagined with Ronald D. Moore. And man, that guy was awesome. But he had this. We had tweeted to him and shouted out, great panel. This is awesome. And he screen capped it on stage and pointed out. He's like, I got you. And then he posted it while he was on stage shouting at great styles. But that guy was awesome, man. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
I got
really
I got to meet him in
that's cool.
2017.
That was
Right.
the year, I think.
Yeah,
2017,
yeah.
16, 17, yeah.
2016, and he died in 2017, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And he did the last film
February.
he did was something honor, his last project that
Blade of
have
Honor?
y'all seen Space Command, Scott Zickery's Space Command series?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the guys that works with him, helps Mark do the stuff for his promotes that is actually in the show. The last project that Richard Hatch did, the honor or whatever, and his name's Ryan Husk. Cool cat.
Yeah.
He's a very, very, very good actor, and he's been doing that a lot of these projects with the sci-fi community as well.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, we've been in touch with Michael Warehan, who has unfinished movies with Richard Hatch in them still
Oh wow!
that have not been put out, and he's looking
That's
to
totally
see if
cool.
the fans are interested in doing things. I think it was Mars
Kinda
20.
doing
It's Mars 2023 or something. I think is one of them.
Yeah.
And then he has Richard Hatch's last book. That is supposed to be. He wants to know if does he release it or not? Yeah, so he wants to know. Hey, should we release it or not?
What Michael said was he's going to act based on fandom. So
Right.
if the fans
Okay.
if they want the project, if they want the movie is 2/3 or I don't remember.
He said like it was
quote him.
89% done. He says
89% done. Yeah.
Wow.
So they just need some like special effects to actually finish it completely.
That's awesome.
And
Yeah.
that would be Richard Hatch's actual last movie. And then the book is the last Galactica book that Richard Hatch wrote out, and it was never published. It's number 8. It's it's like the part 2 to the, I believe the last one was Redemption, and then this one
Right.
finishes it. And he said same thing. If the fans really want it, then there, like Lola says, we are interested. So we have to, he's willing to go to put his neck out on and do this stuff. So we had him on the show, and I don't know, we're hoping that we can drum up, get the wave going, get the Galactica wave going, especially
Totally,
if the new
totally.
show comes out. Right?
Oh,
If
yeah.
the new show comes out, there might be a
that'd
new.
that'd be amazing. And it'd be like a tribute, like something for the fans, and I think people would enjoy that. So
Oh,
that
yeah.
they're looking at publishing that.
Yeah.
That's totally awesome, man. That's wow.
Yeah, I mean, he has it. We were wondering whatever happened to it, so we posed the question,
Right.
and he's like, "I got it. I have
It's right here. It's right here.
It's right here on my yeah."
They should
So
publish that. They
and
should publish that. That'd be amazing.
so we also we discussed and we've brought it up on the show before, is we are in that generation that if anything were to happen Galactica wise, linking to the 1978, even if it was like a Veronica Mars project, like just to get a Kickstarter, I
Good
think
show.
it's yeah, right. And they made the movie. The fans made that
they
movie, and the movie was
kickstarted it.
pretty good too. Yeah. If we're not proactive as fans, I don't know what the future holds. I don't know what 20 years will hold in the future,
Right.
but I think it's up to us now. If we want it, we have to be a little more vocal. So people
Totally.
like yourself, Owen, and everybody else that's fans of ours and your fans, I think if we can, like you were saying, getting together and building a network, SciFiction.com is definitely somewhere that, and you have a strong power base. I
Appreciate
think
you,
it's
man.
worth it, man. And to let it go,
Appreciate
I think it's a shame. So Yeah, we just got you up. There it is. SciFiction.com,
Got the
envisioning a
world.
positive future.
That's right.
Love it, man.
The logo actually has represented. So the world is kind of coming that the horizon. So like it's a future, possibilities and all that. That's the way you design that like that. So,
Oh, cool.
That is awesome. Really good stuff. Yeah. George says Colonials are waiting, and Cylons, because they want their piece of the action as well. So yeah,
they can have it. It's all theirs. They can have it.
Absolutely. So Chris, look at that. All right, so yeah, we're scrolling through a little bit of your. There's your videos.
That's Kerry O'Quinn up top. That's the one we did on at the San Diego. That's a great interview. He actually introduced George Lucas to Gene Roddenberry, and they have archival footage of that.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That's no kidding.
Crazy cool.
That's a famous picture when he does that. Oh, that's so cool, man.
He introduced. He was the one that he produced the 10th anniversary of Star Wars in 1987. In conjunction with, I think, Lucas showed up there, and then he surprised him with Gene Roddenberry, and there's that famous pic of them shaking hands, the two titans of science fiction.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Oh, boy, that's cool, man.
There's a documentary. In that video, he talks about a documentary that is still in motion. It's called From the Bridge. Interestingly enough, that is the last footage that Stan Lee will ever be seen in any movie. They had an amazing interview that they sat down with him and talked about the history of comic books and fandom. And it features quite a bunch of well-known people. Even Gene Simmons talks about how Kiss's uniforms were inspired by the Inhumans, by the Marvel Comics. Interviews with Doug Jones, Abe Sapien, Hellboy, and Saru from Star Trek Discovery. Roddenberry. Leonard Nimoy's son, Adam Nimoy, talks in depth about his father being Spock. Nichelle Nichols is in it. Tom DeSanto's in it. Tons of just big titans. And a very interesting film. It's called From the Bridge. And it's basically a walkthrough of the history and evolution of pop culture fandom. It's an amazing project. I'm hoping that they can get that done. With the COVID, it kind of derailed everything and all that jazz. But in, I believe it was 2018, the ranked #1 Yahoo Entertainment must-attend panel was the From the Bridge panel with over 5,000 or 6,000 people. And it was moderated by Greg Grunberg, super nice guy. He's a real nice guy. I've hung out with him. I interviewed him over at Star Wars Celebration. And he does a sci-fi pod, but he has a podcast about epilepsy. His son has epilepsy. And he's a super cool guy. He actually moderated the panel. And then he was on the news in San Diego promoting the panel for when Comic-Con was going to be doing the big thing. And it was man. And Kerry O'Quinn, the whole film centers around his his whole life in production, and basically the From the Bridge is because of the entry to his book as a magazine was like the soapbox. He wrote the opening column for 30 years called From the Bridge of Starlight Magazine.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Great stuff. I was able to catch up. I missed like the last 2 years. It was like I'd say about maybe the last 2 years of Starlog is when I kind of started. It was hit or miss. Not a lot of retailers were carrying it, but I have a collection that goes all the way hard copy that I used to diligently get Starlog and read it. It was one heck of a magazine that unfortunately doesn't exist today. I think in fandom we need something like that. But
it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that. Another magazine you might know was really popular was Omni Magazine, which was a magazine about science, future, visions of the tomorrow, and all that. I actually had the opportunity before he passed away a few years ago to sit down and hung out and did some panels and stuff, and have an in-depth talk with Ben Bova, who was editorial director of Omni Magazine. And he really generally liked what we're doing our stuff. And I like to pick these guys' brains. And it's kind of wild because, you just think they're going to be there like Stan Lee forever. And then they're gone. And it's like, wow. It's like, there's this void. But they did so much. Like Ben Bova is like the last of like the, Isaac Asimov, Arthur C. Clarke kind of artery of those authors and all that.
Yeah. Oh, man. So, hey, look, Owen, we would love to catch up with you at one of the conventions, and I can tell you that Reed Pop right now has Chicago
company,
lined up,
by the way.
Seattle. Oh
Those
yeah,
guys are
absolutely.
great.
So
Yeah.
they do New York, they do Chicago, Seattle, and Miami. So those four are confirmed. So that's
I'm looking.
you know,
I'm actually looking at Chicago in 11 months. They're doing, I think, a 55th anniversary mission for Star Trek, and that's one
they
that's really
really?
on our radar. Yeah, McCormick Place, where they usually hold the Star Wars celebration that they do when they have it in Chicago. That's one I'm very interested in attending and doing some really good coverage. Maybe doing some panels or something. I'll have to talk to Reed Pop, but yeah, those guys are awesome. And they're, I don't know if you've been to New York Comic Con, of course. You know how big and how much they pull out
yeah.
the strings. It's amazing.
It is. It's
Wow.
incredible. It's just Javits Center can't even hold everybody, so they've had to expand. I've had the honor of doing a couple of panels at New York Comic Con, but man, trying to get to Chicago or maybe even Seattle, Miami. Haven't done Miami. That's the one state I haven't been to Florida for any.
Yeah, I've never been to Miami, any of those down there. I'd love to check them out though. My buddy Quincy Roundtree, he's a comic book illustrator and artist. He actually has a page here on Facebook as well called Quincy Roundtree, Quincy Sketchbook. But he went to Javits Center to New York Comic Con. And he told me all about it. He's like, man, this thing's awesome. It's like it's mega huge. And I've never been to New York. And then when he showed me the pictures, I'm like, this is like San Diego Comic Con on steroids as well. I was like, wow, man, that was awesome. But he's a cool cat. He does a lot of comic book illustrations and really beautiful art. You should check him out. I recommend people check his page also.
I just made a note. New York gets New York Comic Con does anywhere from 150 to about 160,000. So
wow.
It's
That's up there.
It's big.
That's
it's not San Diego, but it's right
it's
below.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
That's pretty close.
And it's not Dragon Con, so.
Oh yes, of course. No, it's
imagine if you could combine them all together into one event.
Yeah,
it
would have to be in Atlanta because they spread it across 5 hotels to begin with.
Yeah,
so.
there's what you got: the Sheraton, the Holiday Inn, the Marquis, the Hyatt, the America's Trade Mart, and the Westin, maybe something like that.
Yeah, the Trade Mart.
Maybe, yeah.
The America's Mart is 5 floors of all vendors.
I went in there, man. I bought some stuff. It was awesome, man. I got some sci-fi sculptures, dude.
Yeah.
That's insane. WonderCon, Owen. Have you been to WonderCon?
Never been to. I was going to. I haven't got a chance to go to the WonderCon. That's the sister to, I believe, San Diego Comic Con.
I've been. I got to do it. I did it right before the pandemic hit and shut everything down. So that year, the 2019, I actually got to go, and it was a lot of fun. Good
That's
stuff.
a cool one. There's a Doctor Who event or something that's down there in California around
Whovians.
Whovians, yeah.
So hey, Owen, we'd like to have you back, man. We'd like to have you back, and we have a couple of things in the wings that we're trying to work on, and one of them is having a forum and trying to get guys like yourself, all the admins, and the leaders, so to speak, of fandom in terms of like what you guys like SCIFICTION, man. I mean, you guys are doing a lot, and I know that you're the face of, but I know that there's more to it. But like yourself and some of the other admins that we've been reaching out to, and maybe having like a little get together and kick back and talk science fiction and see if we can get together and go to cons, and I think we could we can have some fun with all this.
I mean, yeah, imagine if we could create a united front. Yeah, a united front for specific things. Hey, there's certain projects out there that we're all interested in. If we all join together as one united front, instead of just hey, the Battlestar Galactica people, and hey, the Star Wars people, and hey, the Star Trek people, and if you could present a united front across,
fans fuel the fleet.
That's it. Get all these fans,
that's
and
it.
we put them all behind the one thing, and then we have a voice at that point.
That's the whole mission of what I've been trying to do and been working towards. I've always been interested in all aspects of the science fiction, fantasy, comic, the whole genre and all the subgenres. Yep. That's the ultimate goal, is to create something, Sci-Fi Channel, when it first started, that was their goal. was to create a channel where it showcased as much of all the cool stuff. And I think one of the original shows was Battlestar when they originally aired it, back in like 1991 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. So Owen, again, thank you so much for taking.
Thank you very much.
I know things are dicey and busy.
Show, yes.
We'd love to have you back, so please stay in touch. I'll be reaching out to you again, and we got some things that we want to talk about that we're trying to work on, and some fun stuff, and we definitely want to have you back. So thank you so much for making the time, and we're supporters of SciFiction, so everybody out there, make sure you go hit up SciFiction and catch up on some of those videos and interviews, and thanks again for coming on.
Appreciate you guys. You guys have a good night. And I really look forward to seeing all your stuff on. I love these broadcasts, man. I watch them all the time. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you, Owen.
Yeah, we know you're on there all the time.
Man.
We really appreciate you being there.
No problem, guys. You guys have a beautiful night. I hope to see y'all soon, man.
Yep. Take care. Stay safe.
Stay safe.
You too. Peace.
Yeah, I was like, I'd seen some of his stuff in terms of the SciFiction Facebook page, Chris, and I noticed that I was like, man, Owen does a lot of interviewing. Like he's been working, that aspect.
He's been at it a while too, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, wait a minute, that's so and so, that's so and so, that's so and so, and I was like, wow, that's incredible.
Yeah,
so
I was looking through his interviews, and there's like 4 people on there that I know personally.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Battlestar Galactica fan club, and then SciFiCon. I know that guy, and then I know there's like 4 or 5 people on there. Like, I know that guy. I know that guy. I know that guy too.
Well, look, the truth of the matter is that the world is a lot smaller than you imagine, and there's like I mentioned earlier, the whole how many degrees of separation. When you start revolving in certain circles, you're bound to eventually you're gonna run into the same people, and it's big, but I guess you could say it's it's not infinite. So it's not infinite, right? And so therefore eventually we're gonna run into the same circles, which is kind of cool in my opinion. So we're of the same mind with Owen, right? I mean, he's talking about pushing science fiction, keeping it going, and making sure that it gets its due worth, and we're the same thing. So I'm looking forward to having him on, and we can do like a full-blown interview. He was a little pressed for time, but hey, we made the best of it.
Yeah.
And again, Owen, thank you so much for coming on. So,
all right, back to where we were, I guess, right?
Yeah, we were just about to throw ourselves into chapter 4. Right, so we were just kind of doing a little bit of,
and I was just talking about the different names. So
yes,
and I have the Crossfire script, but I haven't read it. But in the Crossfire script, the it's Skylar still in the Crossfire script.
Oh boy! Oh,
and,
really?
And then I can't remember what the, and then what's her name? She's actually in the, Serena is still alive. And she is on the Council of 12.
Oh, whoa. Oh, see, that's interesting. Wow.
So that's and it's not Serena, it's another name. Lola. I'd say Lola because I just looked at her name, but it's like an L name. Hang on, Lola. Her name was Lola.
So
she was a showgirl. So, Lyra.
Chris.
Lyra. Lyra.
Okay. So, Chris, hold on before you put it down. Is there a date on that script that you're looking at? Because
it is. I got to look it back up. I only have that one page. It'd be interesting
to see if you have like a month and
give me a
date
second.
on
I'll
it.
pull it up.
Clay Arden says Lyra, right? Is that what you said, Lyra?
Her name was Lyra. She was a showgirl with yellow feathers in her hair.
Watch out with the Copacabana. Lola, stay away from the Copacabana.
Yep.
Your life is gonna be a mess. So just don't go there.
You'll lose your love.
Yeah, you'll lose your love. Don't go to the Copacabana. I'm just
give me a
curious
second.
to
I'll
see
look it up.
See if there's a date on that. I'm very curious. The book. So I'm gonna look up the book.
Okay,
is,
go ahead. I'm gonna put it to you so it doesn't look like I'm not looking at people.
Yeah, because you're not paying attention. You never pay attention. It's like that Cylon roving eye. You got that roving eye, the red eye. It's a roving eye. This one, right? This is my original copy. I bought it in the bookstore when it first came out. This is the Berkeley edition, January 1979, and we know that Galactica obviously was broadcast in. I was looking down because I have my list of dates for the series and when dates and times for broadcast. So obviously there's different time issues. So broadcast time is not representative of when they wrote the episode, whether it's the spec script or which. So
Right.
you got information, Chris? You got something?
You're gonna love this. Ready?
Go for it.
This is why.
Whoa, a first draft teleplay.
Yep.
No way. And it's dated December 8th, 1977.
And you see,
What
it was
is the
supposed to
date
be
that's crossed out?
it's supposed to be the Kari of Sentinel 87, and they crossed that out, and it is actually They changed it to Crossfire, and then it later became the Gun on Ice Planet Zero.
All right, Lola says I might switch to Cylon Love. No, you're not. No, you're not, Lola. No, you're not. Anyway,
So,
see, that's
November 30th.
That's what I was getting at.
So it went from November 30th, 1977, crossed out first draft teleplay, 12/8/77.
Oh boy, see, that's really cool. That's what we need to nitpick. That's what we got to.
Yeah.
Oh,
Those are the other ones I have.
so cool. Yeah. Oh well, you know what? That's a whole other episode.
Yeah.
So interesting. So that's 77, and obviously this book was then copywritten and released January 1979, and the episode itself aired the Gun on Ice Planet Zero it's a 2-part episode, October 22nd, 1978. So that's in and of itself interesting, the whole date thing. But hey, you know what, Chris? Bottom line is, chapter 4.
I gotta read this now.
Yeah, you gotta. That is something. So look, chapter 4 is a deep dive. We were starting to talk about how it's all about Croft, and you got some really good pictures of him and his crew.
Hang on,
which is kind of cool.
I gotta have that up. That's gotta go up.
We are interested. Yeah, you got to bring it up. Bring Croft up, man. So we're talking about him. So just get him and get him up. I might switch. Yes, of course you had to put that up. I knew you were going to put that up. It looks better on the phone because on the phone it's got the little red heart.
The red heart.
Yeah, yours just made it a monotone, black and white, or So anyway, monochrome. Yeah, get one of those shots, man. Oh, there we go. That's a good one. There we go. Put that up. There's Croft, right? So chapter 4 starts with Croft. It's all his perspective, and he daydreams of escape. He dreams of escape, and it's a big part of his life now that he's in the barge, right? He's in the
grid barge
prison. The prison barge.
Depends on what you say. It's prison barge, grid barge. There's different ones. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I like this chapter. It's different than any other chapter because it's written from Croft's point of view. It's in his Croft's. It's in his. It's in his head. It's in his writing. It's everything in it is about what he thinks and what he says. So, and this is the first chapter that's ever done that. None of the other chapters have done that. I mean, there's some Dama journals that kind of get into the head, but that was like, it was kind of really unique that he is kind of narrating this entire chapter. So yeah, he's there. He's on the grid barge, and we'll talk more about that in a minute or two. But so it's I think it was very unique, and he's dreaming about he dreams that he gets away from the ship and he sees it and he floats into space, and it's kind of really, I guess, what else are you going to do if you're stuck in a cell all day long? So you just dream.
So think about
you
it.
dream of escape and dream of of getting
Chris,
freedom.
not only he was arrested. Now, backstory wise, we talk about when he was intercepted, and Adama talks about this in the book previously.
Right. The very first chapter of the very first entry of this entire book, it talks about him.
I'm wondering now, the prison barge that is either in the book or in the show, how did him and his crew, Croft and his crew, have they always been on the barge?
Yeah,
the day they were arrested.
Were they being transferred?
Right. Were they ever tried in a military tribunal and sentenced somewhere? And it's been years since this happened.
Yes. So I've been thinking they had to have been sentenced because he has he doesn't like Commander Adama very much, because Commander Adama is the one that caught him.
Right. But these guys, him and his crew are still arrested, right? So they're still in chains, and they're on this barge. And the prison barge, I mean, why weren't they on one of the colonies, or why weren't they on a penal colony?
Right.
Why weren't they? Right. How the hell did this guy?
When you escaped everything, would prisoners be? I hate to say it that way, but would prisoners be before women and children, to get off the planet?
Right.
I don't think so. So
I don't think so.
How did they end up?
How did these guys? Yeah.
Would be a great backstory piece.
Yep.
That
on how
you always talk about fan fiction.
Guys,
this would be a good fan fiction piece of how they got here.
Yeah. How did they get there? So he's going through now, talking specifically on the chapter, because this has nothing to do with the episode itself, right? He's having these dreams. Excuse me. He goes through good and bad dreams, and it involves climbing ice mountains. And then there's a part where he talks about how he's invigorated when he does dream about being on the mountain and climbing, because he's a big mountaineering, into mountaineering. He's a big climber. He does, that's what they do, right? But then usually when it goes bad, it's he sees Lita, and he's never sure if Lita, in his now quote nightmare, is she behind him, helping him. He sees himself falling and dying, so to speak, and he doesn't know if she's reaching out to help him, catch him, or pushed him. And that's kind of where his mind goes, and he talks a little bit about that.
He talks about good dreams and bad dreams, and if the bad dreams always involve her, whether she's trying to get him or help him, that's the one thing that makes it a nightmare, because he doesn't know. Yeah.
And Clay Arden says maybe they bribed Ortega too, and then got recognized. Hey man, we don't know. That's great. See, that's the beauty of being able to spin this, right? To get into dig a little bit into this, their backstory. But so Croft is John one made a comment. Is in the book itself now, in this chapter, being that it's all about Croft, and I'm doing this, chronologically or narratively based on how it's put out, is he's woken from that almost nightmarish Lita part by someone called Jester.
Right. He's a prison
Jester
guard.
wakes him up. Yeah. He's one of the guards, and the Jester, tells him there's Colonial Warriors here to see you. And Croft is like, wow, what's going on? He's like, what are you talking about, right?
He responds back. He says, it was something like, I only take visitors during tea time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. but he goes along with it, right? So
Right.
he goes along with it, and they take him to the conference room. So it's like a sort of like
Right.
almost like a high, like an executive level conference room in the, I guess they don't call it a prison barge, right, Chris? In the book, it's not called a prison barge.
Yeah,
it's called a grid barge.
Grid barge.
Right?
And if you jump back to the very first paragraph, he talks about the poor winches and people squirming within the squares of their grids.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, this is, the grid barge looks a lot like, the Ron Moore version of a prison barge, because they're in cages, square grids, than it is look like, what was it, when the Starbuck one, where he's in the nice room with the bed and everything else in there.
Right. Where, we usually see Baltar is in that. Right.
And Baltar and Baltar Escapes was in there. That's nice. Yeah. So it doesn't match up,
right?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. So there's maybe there's different levels in
maybe.
the prison barge, right?
Yeah.
All right. So Croft describes. So Croft is taken into the conference room. He's the first one into the room. He picks the head chair. The chair at the head of the table is the one that he sits in, and he puts his legs up, right?
Yeah, but he's got a point. I mean, he's like, I'll probably, I need to sit in this thing while I can, because there's nothing this comfortable. I might not get something this comfortable for next years from now. So,
if ever, right? I mean, if ever.
So he's a little cocky. So you get the idea, know. And he even looks. Even when they pick the guy, I mean, he's got that look.
It's perfect. Yeah. Great casting. Great casting. So then, Croft describes the Colonial Warriors.
Right. He's got really good insights on that too.
Oh yeah. But let's look. Bottom line is, Croft, we know, because we have hindsight. We've watched the show so many times. We've read the book.
Right.
We know that Croft was a commander. He was an officer.
Yep.
And
he was in charge.
He's in charge, right? He has a dark side.
Yes.
So he sizes people up very well. So either through, being professional and being able to size people up, or he also has that other side of him that becomes a part of, how and what he does. Plus he's a convict now.
Yeah.
And sizing people up is also a part of, daily life.
Staying alive tactic, yeah.
Yeah. And so he talks about the Colonial Warriors, and there's two of them.
Right.
And one of them is a black Colonial Warrior.
Right.
And he says that guy is bright, with questioning eyes, right? Two things that stood out. And we know that that's Boomer.
Right.
And then there's a white warrior. And he says, that guy looks like a ladies' man, yet he's tough, from the best breed of pilots, but a little of a con man in him. That's part of the observation.
Yeah, con man and a little bit of a fool, a little bit of hero. He mentions. So take your pick.
Yeah.
I think
so that's all going. His head.
He also says, I think I'd like them if they weren't rotten Colonial Warriors.
See, I knew you'd say that, so I figured, what the hell?
Yeah, they're rotten Colonial Warriors. Because he doesn't like them. So,
well, for obvious reasons. To him, it's obvious why he hates them. So,
yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the first time. And I mean, I'm pretty sure I had to go back and watch our other episodes to remember. I don't know if Boomer was ever mentioned being African American. I don't. In the first book, this is the first time it's listed as it being that.
It's being a black
white
man.
and instead of a black man. So they got one white and one black. I'm like, that's. I don't know if that came from the script or if that came from some. It had to come from the script, so I have to look at the script.
You'd have to look it up, because you got the first the first draft, the original draft. So that probably is in there.
That's the first mention of race in the series, I believe.
Yeah, I think so too, because that doesn't really play like in terms of where they come from and who they are is not
Right.
an issue.
Most of the time
It's
they
never
mention
an issue.
yeah, they most of the time they mention he's Capricorn or he's Sagittarian or he's Gemini or Pisces or
yeah, exactly, or Scorpio.
Right.
And even on Scorpio, right? Aren't the Nomen, the Borrelian Nomen, aren't they from Scorpio?
I think so, yeah.
I think they are, right? And they're like all kind of standoffish and have their own code, and they live in the deserts or something. Yeah. So Croft, who's in that chair, is sizing up the guys, and then Starbuck is reading from a mini computer. Isn't it? I thought that was interesting. He's got a mini computer, and it says that it's so he brings it up, and he's talking about Croft like in the third person, right? That he was the commander of a snow garrison on ice planet Kalpa, right? So we know now where he served based on what the book is telling us. And there was he raided a Cylon outpost, plundered Cylon platinum mine, and would not surrender the plunder to their colonial commander. So
he was caught by a colonial commander named Adama.
No, well, not this guy. The guy that he taught that Starbuck talks about is what happened. Right, this guy is his. I think this is Croft's commanding officer.
Right,
that wanted to get cut in, and Croft told him to take a hike. Right. I think that's how that.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing because he's the commander of the snow garrison, so this must be the commander of the area.
Right. So he's the guy that wanted to get a piece of the action, and Croft was like, "Take a hike. I'm not cutting you on anything."
It wasn't a military operation. He talks about how dangerous it was, how they scaled down the cliff, and they knew that if the Cylons could see him, they would kill him.
Croft first he describes the team.
Yeah.
So he talks about who he put. It was him, Lita, Wolf, Thane, and 4 others that were part of the team, right? So in this picture, it's interesting because Starbuck and Boomer are actually talking to Lita.
There's your mini computer.
There's the mini computer, and up on that higher step is Croft and Thane and Wolf. So they're there, and they're in chains. Croft is not. When they talk about Croft, or at least Croft's talking about himself, it doesn't sound like he's in chains. But the other two guys and Lita they're definitely in chains.
Yeah, it was chains because he was so dangerous.
Yeah. So then he also talks about how 2 men were lost so he put together the team and they assault this Cylon mining outpost.
Right.
2 of the men were lost while they were traversing the Verglass surfaced slope, and they made it into the Cylon encampment and slaughtered the Cylon warriors, but lost 2 more of their band.
Okay, so once again, this is given the idea that Cylons are the reptilian style.
Right, because there's also Cylon workers that capitulated.
Yeah, so they got rid of all the warriors and they lost 2 more of the team while they got rid of the warriors. Yeah. So that's 4 people altogether.
There's the 4. Yeah,
and then the rest of the Cylons, the workers, capitulated and say, hey, they helped them load up.
Don't kill us.
Yeah, they loaded up the thing.
Which is interesting, right?
I'd love to see what a Cylon civilian looks like, other than the the one at the blue face. Yeah.
That's interesting. So they stored the platinum in a Cylon freighter, and this I found extremely interesting, which I mentioned to you earlier, was that Wolf knows the controls of the freighter like he knows the controls of a Viper. So it's like, so wait a minute. So Wolf is a right. He's a colonial warrior and he's a pilot.
Right.
Right. So it's not that he's just like an infantry, you know, just like regular army in the colonial military. Right. He's not a grunt. He's actually a pilot of some sort, which I thought was fascinating. Right. So
and
these guys,
and they describe him as a short, stocky,
yeah,
kind of like the bouncer style that
Right.
we would call it, somebody that looked like a bouncer.
yeah. And so Boomer mentions that he is a so at one point, Croft wants to know who the hell am I talking to, and I thought this was interesting, Chris. Boomer mentions that he is part of Commander Adama's Strike
Wing. And he says that in the movie too.
Yeah. So Starbuck, of course, says he's Blue Squadron, whatever. Right. Which is I thought, I mean, that's the standard. But when now Boomer says that he's like, I'm part of Commander Adama's Strike Wing. Which
he mentions on we're Blue Squadron. So the way it reads is Starbuck says we're Blue Squadron, and then Boomer says Commander Adama's Strike Wing.
Yeah. So I guess
two separate things. It's the same thing. It's just he added on because Thane or Croft and them probably don't know any of that stuff because
no, they don't. Yeah, of course, because they haven't served on the Battlestar.
But the word Adama, Croft.
Oh yeah, he gave him. Oh,
like,
absolutely. What? Yeah, there's some history. There's definitely some history. William, thanks for joining us. We are now neck deep into chapter 4. So Wolf obviously is presented in chains. He's busted up.
Yeah.
Right? He's busted up in the book. He's got his face is bruised, and here he looks a little dirty, but it looks like his forehead might be, he may have gotten, a couple of punches to the head. But it's in the book. It seems like he's pretty banged up, so he constantly gets it on.
Low center of gravity, muscular shoulders. His hair is shaggy as ever. Wolf and Combs are natural enemies.
Exactly. So Croft says, is very interesting, right? He can always sense when Thane is nearby.
Yeah, so you get the idea that he really is got a fear for Thane.
Yes, he does. Absolutely. He actually, in the book, he says a chill runs up and down his spine when he sees him. Yeah. Put him up. You got to show this. There he is. So look, in the book, Thane has colorless eyes, close cut hair that is ivory white.
Close.
So this guy looked, it's a good casting, but a crew cut would have been better. And he's got colorless eyes. And Thane is the demo expert and an alien environment specialist as well. He works with breathing gear. And by the way, Thane had murdered 2 arresting officers when he was taken into custody. Actually, 4 went down and 2 never got back up.
Right. So he took down 2 of them and they never got back up. So, which kind of leads to that one thing in the show where he kind of gasses one of the people.
Yeah.
One of the things when they have a kind of a little fight. So, did he gas these 2 and kill them, or,
Yeah, who knows, man? That's pretty interesting. Talk about, writing a story, right?
I mean, he's got the greatest lines. The lines in there, the great lines are. It says, "Hey, I can take you through fire, water, snow," and then it says you're in here for murder. It says, "Yeah, that too."
It's great characters, man. And then, Chris, there's Lita, and they give and Croft describes her, right? Big boned.
Yeah, not quite what this is. Yeah.
No, big boned, a shade taller than Croft. Hair is cut short, reddish in color. She's got high cheekbones, which adds to her, quote, slightly alien appearance. Did you pick up on that?
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting. However, they're both from Scorpia. That's how they refer to their world, Scorpia. She blames Croft for the death of the 4 men, quote, and women. So it's not obviously
men,
it's not
yeah.
just not 4 men, because
Yep.
she, when they refer to this on page 58, it's 4 men and women. So there's more to this.
Right.
Yeah, you know. And of course, then they go into Chris. They talk about mountain climbing. Like
A
he
lot,
talks about
yeah.
it. Like, yeah, he starts talking about how they visited the Capricorn Range while on furlough.
Yeah, they didn't tell the people, the safety guys are like, hey, you need to tell us where you're going to be at and everything else, and they just said no. We're gonna do our own thing. Yeah, we're gonna do our own summits.
They had been injured in combat and deemed and so the military had deemed their actions heroic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're, they, right? I mean, that says a lot. And then they conquered 5 summits in Caprica, 1 previously unclimbed.
Sounds like a Mount Everest type of thing.
Yeah. So these are not, they're not the regular types, right? These are like over, like the extreme sports type, they're into all that stuff,
Right.
the marathon types and, all of that.
So they were really good friends and lovers and married.
Yeah. Married, yeah. Yeah.
So
Which brings up, Chris, right? They grew apart as time went on. So in his mind, right? So Croft is thinking all this through, right? It's like, so now it's like, oh yeah, and
yeah,
we had issues, right? So the issues is what broke them apart, right?
Right.
So he mentions how that stuff was out there, and it got in the way,
Right.
and she's holding like grudges, and she doesn't want to let him forget any of that, and it kind of like that's what split them apart. But you pulled up some images, some stills that you had captured from the episode, which are basically doesn't, at least here, it doesn't coincide with the visuals, right?
No, so a couple of things here. So in the video, you see them, all the shoveled and everything else, and of course they keep going back and forth saying, "Hey, Adama's going to brief you," and of course Lita's like, looks at Croft and says, "Oh, you guys are buddy now." I said, "Oh yeah, just like a Pycon and a hook. Yeah, we're like that, And it says, so Lita smiles and displaying her even white teeth. I'm married to him, which is the same thing there. But in the show, they're led out of the room. So first of all, this is on the grid barge because it never got on a shuttle or anything else. But if you look at the show and you look at some of the Capricorn flag is in the background, and this looks like I think that's one of the other things here. Some of this is on the Galactica at this point, but if you go and rewatch the show, it's the same.
Pull them up.
What's that?
Pull up the images so everybody can see. That's a good one.
Yeah.
You got to bring it up.
Bring what up? Which one? You lost me.
Start there. Start with the gun on Ice Planet Zero, and then, or this image that you have up is not on the output. So see if you can just bring that up, because in the preview, there we go. That's what we were talking about. There's
that, and then there's those guys, and then
there's the rest of the
Adama.
team.
But
yeah,
these guys, they're all shaven, they're all cleaned up, they're all everything else.
Yeah.
This part is missing from the show. it goes to a commercial break, and then suddenly they're cleaned up and Adama's addressing them.
Yeah.
So there's a big gap there that I have to go back and check and see if there's any deleted scene on that, but I don't believe there was. So, how did they get to this point? Plus, how did Adama come to the grid barge? Or did they go to the Galactica?
Or they go to the Galactica.
Or
right?
did they
So
go to
that
the
makes a lot
Galactica to
more
begin
sense.
with? If you look at the Boomer and Starbuck, were they on the Galactica to begin with? Did they bring them over there? Because this is the exact same room that Adama walks into. So it has to be either on the Galactica or on the grid barge together. So a little confusing,
Right.
a little hiccup in there, that it's just a spot that could have been done a little better in regards to, how did we get to this part? So we know Adama's going to come and tell them about it, but how did we get to this part? And if you wait till next week, we probably will tell you how that happened.
Yeah, because that's the briefing. So you're watching
Yeah.
the picture, the image we got up
Right.
is when Adama, talks
He's
to
briefing
them.
them, yeah.
Yeah, he's briefing them. But we in chapter 4, this is where we're at. Chapter 4 is all of this, and then Boomer. See, there you go. So like that other picture you had up, the screenshot, Chris, where they're all together there. That's supposed to be on. There's a lot of colonial presence, and to
Right.
me, that looks like they're on the Galactica.
They're probably on the
not at
Galactica.
prison barge,
Yeah.
right? That's.
I don't think
so
prison
they-
barge would be flying the flag of the of Caprica over there on the left.
Right. So they wouldn't have Colonial Warriors, guarding these prisoners. They're not going to afford, the expenditure of manpower, have Colonials on that. They use the security force, right?
Well,
To
in
actually
the
guard
show,
prisoners.
in the show,
Yeah.
but here it looks like in the middle if you look to the left of Lita, you see a Colonial Warrior standing there that
Yeah.
looks like he's not armed.
Right. So in the show, to me it looks like they've. So this is the part, guys, and everybody that's out there and watching. This picture is Starbuck and Boomer at the barge. So this is all right. So they're at the barge. I think that's what that is. So they're at the
Yeah.
barge, and that's at the show. Same as in the book. Starbuck says that Lita has a formidable appearance. Without chains, she'd best us all. Or no,
Right,
sorry,
which
beat
doesn't-
us all.
Yeah, because they described her as big boned. This
Yeah.
woman here is definitely not big boned. She's beautiful.
Yeah. So,
Don't get me wrong.
but yeah. So after this, Boomer folds up his mini computer and slips it into his flight jacket, quote, flight jacket, before they are taken away by Starbuck and Boomer for their briefing. So next scene after this, in terms of the book,
right.
would be, right?
They're taken
goes
away for the
to-
briefing, so they have to go from the
Yeah.
grid barge to the Galactica.
To the Galactica. Go to the Galactica, and that's when you get Adama. So the one thing that somewhere in there, Chris, I think Lita, it's mentioned that she's a med tech.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a med tech.
professional. In the video, in the show, she's mentioned as being a professional in laser injuries. Wounds.
Yeah. And yeah, it's on page 59. If anybody has the book, it's in the middle of page 59. Talks about her professional background. So these guys, the still image that you have up, they're part of the team, and they also got their own patches. So there's on their parkas, there's Apollo, Starbuck, Boomer,
Right.
each have their own designated patches on their parkas. Croft,
find
Wolf, Thane also have their own patches, as well as there's one where it's Lita, and then 3 Colonial Warriors also get their own patches, and those guys you had up, it's Vickers, Halls, and Voight. They also get their own unique patches or identifiers on their parkas when they prep and then, of course, deploy down to the mission. So I thought it was interesting that those guys, although they're minor characters, they do have, they did give them a little bit of a uniqueness to what what they represent and what they're doing. One of them, I think, is a flight sergeant or something like that. I think it's Vickers is the sergeant, but anyway,
I think
I thought it
Vickers
was
is
kind of
the
cool.
sergeant. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that the wardrobe went so far as to give them their own
Flash.
designators. Yeah, their flashes on their parkas, which is kind of cool. And then I guess we'll get into that, Chris, in our follow-up chapter, which is obviously next week, and we'll talk some more about.
There's one.
Yeah, there's one.
The Flash
you had a screen
right
grab.
below the
Yeah,
thing.
there's the Flash. There's a screen grab, Chris, that you have. That's Apollo, by the way.
Yep.
Right? The one. It's a purple
Yep.
Flash, and Larry Mager actually wrote a whole thesis on it, and he tells you who actually where those patches come from, and
Right.
what units they're from and stuff.
Try to find
So
another
that's
one
kind
here.
of cool. In the
All right, everybody. I know
background,
this is going fast.
in the background, Chris, you have some of them on you have them on display,
Yeah.
right where the helmets and stuff are.
Right.
You have some of them up.
Yep.
So
I
I
don't know
think
whether
the
they're here
one
somewhere.
directly behind you is Thanes, I believe. Is it solid red, or is that Boomers?
That's
Yes, that's
solid red down
is
there.
it solid red?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so there's Thanes, which is solid red, and then Boomers has white in it.
Yeah.
And I think you have both of those. So yeah, man, we can get into that later on. That's chapter 4, guys.
Dun, dun, dun.
And yeah, thanks for slugging it out with us. I'm glad that Owen was able to pull away and join us for a bit. That was kind of cool. Not kind of, it was cool. And
Thanks for-
like I said, we'll have him come back, right, Chris? That would be kind of
Yep.
cool.
Thanks for geeking out with us in regards to
Oh, yeah.
breaking it down word by word. It's kind of what we do because
pretty much.
but it's just it's interesting, and I really appreciate everybody hanging out and doing this with us. But it's really interesting to see, a little bit more behind the storyline, a little bit more about what Thane or what and I'm sorry, Croft was thinking and his state of mind and that kind of stuff. Just didn't come through on the episode, but it really does come through in the book, and we really like sharing that with you and getting that information to you and getting kind of feedback through the chat and things like that. So we really enjoy it. Thanks for joining us on this chapter. But don't forget to join us next chapter. And of course,
But
if you're
Chris,
watching us on YouTube or wherever, don't forget to smash that like button. Smash it
we need
if you're a
it.
Colonial,
We need it.
smash it like you hate the Cylons. And if you're a Cylon, smash it like you would a Colonial Warrior.
By the way, next week we have a special guest coming on for a 10 Centon spot, and it's Amber Edmond, and she is with a heavy duty Facebook group that is primarily dedicated to the re-envisioned Battlestar Galactica, which we are not opposed to. We've watched them all. We watched the whole series. I watched it live when it came up. It just so happens that we are, bigger fans of 78, but we are also, we are respectful of the other one. We watched it. We know the story well. And she's going to come on, and she represents, like we said, a very big Facebook group, and she's going to come on and talk to us about, what their vision in terms of their piece of the pie out there in Facebook and their fan group, and it's a big one. So we're really happy and honored that they're coming on board, or that she's coming on board. We may or may not be able to get another counterpart from their group, but We know that she is, and she's going to hopefully be a part of our future trivia that we're going to do as well.
She says she knows everything about it. Says, okay, we'll find out.
So yeah, I mean it's a 10 Centon spot. So I mean, I don't know. Let's see what happens. We're not looking to put anybody on the spot, but we did when we had our conversation with her, and I'll tell you, she's on the money, man.
She was
no questions asked, and we went deep dive into the New Galactica and found stuff. I actually got a book, and she got them all right, and so it's very impressive. A lot of fun. So she'll be on. She's scheduled for next show, and hopefully we can make that happen for you. We do have a lot of other things that we're working on, so gradually we'll get those out. And like Owen said, Chris, you're going to Dragon Con.
Yep, I've got my tickets and I got my hotel already. So that'll be 1st of September. Rough time frame.
Yes. Yeah. So
I'll be broadcast from there. So
yes,
the Cylons will take over.
Oh God. Okay, here we go. Yes. And that's okay. We're gonna have some fun with that. Hopefully, we'll start coordinating with all the fans that are out there and the other groups as well, and Owen and everybody else, and see if we can actually get ourselves, Chris, to some of these other ones besides New York Comic Con, since it's in my backyard. But,
Chicago's within driving distance. I know that for fact.
Chicago, yes, because you just did it. There's Chicago, Seattle, Miami is definitely
Seattle
as far
be
as
a long drive.
Pop, yeah. Well, Seattle, yeah, but there's I guess, Chris, maybe Miami and Chicago might be possible.
Yeah.
All right. So
if you can break away,
work on it. Exactly. Yep. So Chris promised that he would not let me forget that I am not going to go to Dragon Con this year. Don't know if I'm ever going to get to go to Dragon Con, but we'll talk about that for a future show. We can discuss all the logistics of how that plays out. However, we are definitely going to be a part of the convention scene as it unfolds. Lola says Florida, great. I've been to Miami, but not to a convention in Miami. So
where are you at in Florida? Anyways, Lola.
Yeah, hey Lola, tell us what city are you close to or in? And so for now, at least this year, so that it's not a bust. Chris, there's also some shows that go on near you. So
DC's got quite a few, yeah.
So and DC's got a good one. Not to mention there's a Baltimore.
Baltimore's got one. Yep.
Yeah. So Holiday. Lola says Holiday.
I don't know what Holiday, Florida is at. I'll have to look that one up.
Yeah. Is that now? We'll have to look into that. Clearwater. That's what? You don't know Clearwater? I know Clearwater. How
I know Clearwater. At Jacksonville.
Come on. All right. Anyway, the point being that we are going to, start looking at going to the cons. Right, the cons are going to start coming back.
Maybe run into some of y'all out there. We'd love to see.
Yeah, we'd love to. That's the point. That's the whole point. So we're going to be doing that as well. But in the meantime, everybody continue to stay safe, right, Chris?
Yep.
And we're going to do our best to continue, doing what we do. And we thank you. We appreciate it. I got a parking ticket in Clearwater. Says mediocre modeler. You know how many tickets I've gotten in New York City, buddy?
So you're trying to say he's wanted?
Yeah. Yeah.
All my exes live in Clearwater?
I'm going to get one before I die. I'm going to get, yeah. All right, Lola. So mediocre modeler, just I don't know what to say, but yeah. If you're ever up in New York, man, hey, listen. Gloves off, anything goes. Yep. So yeah. Anyway, we're going to. Yeah. As a matter of fact, Mediocre Modeler is going to join us later this summer. Is going to come back. He says he's got a special project, so he's going to do a full-blown interview a little bit later than we thought, but no problem. And we have a lot of fun. We had fun with him last time. We're gonna have even more fun coming up. So he's got some project that he's going to premiere debut when he does the full-blown interview. So we're looking forward to that.
We have an editor?
Yeah, we have an editor coming. Plenty of tickets for everyone in New York. That's a Ramon Razor says, absolutely. So hopefully it'll be, hopefully it'll be as big. 150, 160,000 is fantastic. But we have an editor that's worked on all the franchises. So we got him coming up. We have a special interview that we did with one of the pioneers of the Battlestar Galactica fan clubs back in the day. So that's going on.
We did an audio interview with him. So
so we got some really good stories, and we got some really good visuals and pictures and stuff. So that's Larry Mager, of course. So we're gonna do that as well, and we got some others. And Ramon says, I was talking about parking tickets. Yeah, that's right. Plenty of tickets.
New York
for
Comic Con
everyone.
tickets is what we were hoping for.
Yeah, we were hoping for the tickets to the convention. You're talking about getting tickets. Yeah,
I could easily get a parking ticket. I just can't get a ticket to the convention.
I
wish it was as easy to get a ticket to the convention as it would be to get a parking ticket.
Yeah, no kidding. So I guess Chris, all good things. Let's look. I'm going to thank everybody for tuning in. We love having you on board. Keep clicking those thumbs up, and like Chris had said, and don't forget to tell your friends. Smash everything, baby, all of it. And if you want to contact us, our email is info@interfleetbroadcasting.com. Stay safe. See you at our next show. Keep the faith, and remember that fans fuel the fleet. And we're looking forward to the next chapter. So here's to everybody out there. Owen, thanks for coming in. Everybody that's live, thank you very much. Everybody that watches this afterwards, we thank you as well. Keep tuning in and keep sending those emails. And don't forget to do the clicks, right? The clicks. Be well, everybody.
Smashing.
Take care.
Uh-oh, I lost
Smash away.
Hang on.
Your train of thought? It's past your bedtime.
It must be.
Turn yourself off. Turn yourself off, Cylon Man.
Where's the... Where's it at?
We're still on the air.
I know, Chris, we're still on the air. I'm looking to get us off the air. But for some reason, I can't find the correct outro video.
Oh, come on, man. What happened to your Cylon nanites now?
I haven't...
Turn on your second brain, bro.
I need to map this one. I just don't have it mapped.
Oh, boy.
And there's so many... I have so many things here. This is so weird.
That's the problem. You know what? It's the lazy eye. It goes back and forth, Chris.
Unless I'm interrogating somebody, then it goes faster.
Yeah, that's right. At least with Vulpa, right?
That's it.
Oh,
I can't believe I cannot find. I got way too many.
You can't find. It's so well hidden on the what is it? The planet Kalpa, or the outpost on Kalpa, that you can't even find the actual button so that we can. The Cylon
so we can leave.
Hacked.
We can't leave without it.
We're
gonna be here all night.
The Cylons got hacked. It's ransomed. We're being ransomed by the Imperious leader.
We're gonna be here all night, evidently. I can't find it.
Oh man,
it's not here. All
right,
so we're just gonna have to do the old-fashioned way.
You know what? This is what we're gonna have to do. There we go. I got it all.
And kaboom! All right, y'all take care.